Hey guys, this is just a quick update. I really do have to try harder to get evidence during times that it's very difficult because, you know, during the day or whatever, I can start recording the pounding and the banging and shit like that, and it's fine. But when it happens at night, on and off, and I can't prepare for it because it can happen at any time, and I don't have the equipment to just record all night. It's about kind of waking up to someone pounding or banging, then turning my cell phone camera on and waiting for it to happen again, and it might not. Or what they've been doing is they've been pounding early in the morning, and it's more like not even pounding. It's like a tap, 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 and they wake us up that way. So they did that again this morning, and I didn't have my cell phone even near me. So, of course, I woke up. It's usually between maybe 4 and 6 or 3 and 6 in the morning. Tap, 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 tap. And this is a light tapping, it's every fucking morning. And I try to record it, and then they stop. And I just cannot leave my cell phone recording all night. The batteries don't work that way. So now it's just a matter of, okay, I'm going to start getting up at 3 in the morning and waiting to record this shit, right? And see if I can do it that way. But normally what I'll do is I'll have my cell phone by me, and I'll have my earplugs in, right? So, and I fall asleep to white noise. That way, when the tapping starts in the morning, and it plays for like 8 something hours. So, and I go to bed pretty late. So, in that way, in the morning, when when they start tapping, I won't hear it, or I'll hear it faintly, but it won't bother me. It won't wake me up because I've got the noise going on. But I've got to stop that. I've got to not be so lazy. I need to, maybe set my alarm for 2 a.m. every morning. That way by 3 when it starts, or 3 or 4, I'll be able to record it at the time with the timestamp or whatever. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do now, or at least from this point on. Got to be proactive, right? What else? So this morning too, I was thinking about, because I was thinking, how do I report this? Because they're just going to say that it didn't happen, right? And I did call, I called downstairs and reported it, and the woman was nice. But if I don't have evidence, they can say anything was just in your head, right? Even a physical attack, they can say it's just in your head, right? I remember, some years ago, I tried to explain to one of the security guards here what was, that they were pounding and shit, and, and they were following me, and she asked me if I could see and hear things that other people couldn't see and hear. So right away, the implication is that it's all in my head. So you've got to have the evidence. If you don't, anything they can just call mental illness. And what's worse, and this is pretty twisted, it's fucking perverse, is we all know that psychiatry is a scam. These are evil motherfuckers, right? And for those who aren't aware of that, please read a book called the CA. It's by Colin A. Ross, Ross, and the book is called The CIA Doctors, something like Abuses Among American Psychiatrists, something like that. Look it up. Psychiatry is, it's been used for a long time, especially punitive psychiatry, to control populations, to deem people mentally ill when they're not, in order to justify incarcerating them, or experimenting on them, or lobotomizing them, which they did in the past, right, to quote unquote normalize them. Look, if you got to give someone brain damage in order to normalize them, then it wasn't normal to begin with, whatever you're trying to do, right? But anyway, yeah, even like in communist East Germany, warfare was waged on anti-communists. The warfare was later termed Zersetzung, which means total destruction of a person, total decomposition on every level, right? Body, mind, and soul. And, people were followed, and they were hunted, and they were stalked, and they were terrorized. People, it's a lot of, this is what we call gang stalking today. People would, targets would have their homes broken into and windows left open, the same shit they do to us today. And when they complained about it, they were called mentally ill. So what's happening is, it's kind of, what the information they're putting out there for the masses is pretty much just to deem everyone mentally ill. There's no way a person is not going to fall under that category, because what's happening is they're taking perfectly normal and natural responses to negative stimuli, and they're deeming those responses a sign of mental illness. I mean, even the denial of the fact that someone is mentally ill is deemed a sign of mental illness. Can you imagine if like court cases were fought that way, especially criminal cases, right? Denial that you're guilty is proof that you're guilty. Can you fucking admit? And the masses actually believe this shit. So anger. They talk about how a person who is delusional and believes things that aren't real will show anger when their delusions are challenged or questioned or when it's said they're not happening. Well, here's what is going to create anger in a person. If a person is being abused, whether it's psychologically, emotionally, physically, sexually, okay, and if they're being hunted, if they're being stalked, if they're being followed, and this abuse is being denied, it's being said it's all in their head, of course they're going to get angry, because if the abuse is denied, it's never going to stop. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep happening. And if they're deemed mentally ill for reporting it, that puts them in an even worse situation, because now they can't even report crimes that are committed against them, because it'll all be said it's just in their head. Even physical abuse. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being raped and actually having the bruises and the marks and being told it didn't happen, it's all in your head? Can you imagine being hunted and followed home and having someone, coming home to find that someone came in and left your window open just to let you know that they were there, and being told it's all in your head? Terrorized to this level. And then you can't get help anywhere. People are saying that it's not happening. Of course people are going to get angry, because denying the abuse means that the abuse is going to continue. Right? Anger is a perfectly normal response to that. But the masses are being taught that anger is a sign of mental illness. Right? If they're mentally ill and delusional, first they're going to deny it, then they're going to show anger at the idea that what they believe isn't true. But these are normal reactions to this kind of stimuli. Now what they're doing is they're convincing the masses to treat people in a way that will absolutely generate a negative response from the target. And then they use that to justify why the target is mentally ill. They deem those perfectly normal and natural responses a sign of mental illness. Another is ghosting. I think that's where you just stop contacting someone. You stop calling them back. You stop talking to them. Now, if you have a friend, a lover, someone you care about, and they stop contacting you, of course you're going to get angry, right? If maybe you have a friend or a family member who really does have some kind of mental illness, and they threaten to kill themselves, right? And you never know whether they're going to be okay. They threaten to kill themselves, and then they don't contact you for 2 weeks. You don't know whether they're dead or alive. Of course you're going to be angry. Maybe you have a legal matter to take care of. For example, my mom's, she had to file bankruptcy. We had to leave the apartment totally. Not the apartment, my mom's old condo. She lost everything. We had to leave. We were run out. And my uncle got her an attorney, and she gave all of her papers over to the attorney to file bankruptcy. That was years ago. Not only did he not file, he still has all of her personal documents, and we can't get those documents back, and he won't return the calls. That's ghosting, right? Or, if there's some kind of legal matter that you cannot do on your own, and you're dealing with someone and they have to contact you, you have to be in contact with them, and they just stop calling you. Targets of gang stalking or Zerzetzung, for them this happens all the time. So it's very difficult to get anything done. For my mom, she can't get her personal documents back. Of course you're going to get angry. But anger at being ghosted or having people stop contacting you and just start ignoring you, that's now deemed a sign of mental illness. Even though in some cases this can destroy someone's life if they need to be in contact with someone. So, what if it's a business matter that, you literally need to be in contact with a person. They can't just stop and leave you hanging. Of course people are going to get angry. What if you're, in a relationship and your significant other, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they just stop contacting you. They cut you off dry. Someone you cared about, you were friends with, you loved, right? They stop just like that. Of course you're going to get angry. That is a perfectly normal and natural response to really bad treatment. But the masses are again being convinced, no, this is a sign of mental illness. You're a narcissist. This is twisted, and they believe this. They fucking accept this shit, and it's psychiatry that's pumping this garbage out. So what they're doing is they're convincing people to behave abusively towards others, and then they're using the negative responses to abuse in order to deem the target mentally ill. I'm losing my patience. I'm losing my temper. I'm losing my cool, and I'm tired. Anyway, I just needed to rant. I hope y'all are doing well. You know what? I forgot to add this, so I'm gonna make another video right now and add this at the end of the last one. But this is for my own protection, for my own safety. So remember, keep in mind there are rules in the building that I have to follow. This is not a normal building, right? This is for seniors. I'm a caregiver for my mom. So there are certain things I cannot get out of, and I'm trying to follow the rules as best I can, because being targeted, people are already looking for something to attack me over, to condemn me for, some crime to pin on me, something that I did wrong, right? To persecute and condemn and whatever. I can't risk that happening here. I can't risk my mom getting kicked out because of something I do. It's a difficult situation because I've been set up in the past, for things I haven't done. So I have to be very careful not to actually do anything wrong. So that's the situation. When it comes to COVID, there are restrictions in the building because it's, because of the seniors here. So I have to follow those restrictions, and I'm trying to do everything legally, but it's not easy. And here's an example of ghosting. When you get sick, you in the building, you have to get tested. That's just how it is. I did not have a choice. Okay, you get tested here. So I went to my doctor. Well, you don't have to get tested here, but you have to get tested somewhere. So I went to my doctor to get tested, and right. So I said it came back positive. Fine, whatever. But here's the thing: when I called the manager, and I briefly spoke about this, but I called the manager. She said that she would, okay, well then she would have someone come up and retest me, and that until then I should isolate, and quarantine. And that since it appeared that my mom had gotten sick first a few weeks prior, she didn't actually need a test because it might not even be in her system anymore. But yeah, so the manager said she would have someone come up or contact us first to do the test here to see if there was a negative result, and that I should quarantine until I got the negative result. Well, they never called, and they never came up, right? So I contacted her again, and I told her, hey, look, are they gonna call? Are they gonna come up? Because they haven't. And she said that she would call me back and let me know, what's going on. She would find out from them what's going on. But she never called me back. So what the hell do I do, right? Do I keep quarantining? I have errands to run. I have to do things for my mom. I have my own appointments where I have to go out. I can't just quarantine indefinitely. And my guess is she is not going to get back to me at all, and she hasn't gotten back to me. So in a situation like this, when someone is going to ghost you in that sense, what do you do when it's a legal matter? Do I keep quarantining? For how long? For a year? For 2 years? For 3 years until she decides to get back to me? What if she never does? And I decided I'm going to go back to my doctor and get tested there anyway, just to keep this legal. And, I'm gonna tell them, look, I did whatever I could do, but the people that she said would come up never came up, and she said she would contact me about it, and she never got back to me. What the hell am I supposed to do? My doctor gave me a note that I'm clear anyway, not that it's a negative test, but that enough time had passed where I should be okay. But even still, I'm gonna try to follow the rules as best I can and go back and get tested, just so I have that. But again, this is a case of ghosting where, for legal reasons, you need to be in contact with someone, but they don't contact you back, which, leaving you don't know what to do. And in a case like this, I could get in serious trouble. My mom could even get kicked out of the building because of it. So of course people are going to be angry. But, and this is something that happens to targeted individuals all the time. People who they need to be in contact with will just cut them off cold and stop contacting them, leaving them hanging in situations where they could get in legal trouble if they don't, if if they're not in contact with this person, if this person just drops them and doesn't resolve the issue or doesn't tell them what they're supposed to do, right? It's a serious, it's pretty serious. It can be dead serious. But don't show anger. Don't show anger, because that's a sign of mental illness. It's perverse. And it gets harder and harder not to show anger. And the longer people have to repress everything and just shut up and take it, really the more volatile their response is going to be when it finally comes. And that's what all of this is leading to for everyone. You know, the masses are being conditioned to mistreat people in ways that are meant to get a negative response from those people. And when those people respond negatively, there's psychiatry saying, well, that's a sign of mental illness. So it becomes, you know, a provocation, and then like just a provoke and then condemn. They're provoking you for a negative response just to condemn you for that response and to use that response to prove whatever ugly thing they decided about you to begin with. It is fucking perverse. Anyway, I'm adding this just for my own safety, that, you know, I tried to follow what she said, but they never came, and she said she would call me back to find out why, and she never did. So if we do get in trouble in the building, it's not, you know, it's nothing I did wrong. I tried to follow the rules. Later.